Good morning, everyone. We'll be taking some time to wait for some of the other speakers and participants for a few. It's a Saturday, a beautiful Saturday, and my name is Swasha Pell. Thank you, Mr. Samuel Frank, for coming in at DOB Obo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Good morning to you, and yes, Chapel Ogenetiga, good morning to you. In the meantime, we are going to be having this conversation about financial literacy. And hopefully, by the time we are done, we'll all feel in a better place when it comes to education, when it comes to our kids and our wards, our teens, to properly position them for a very tumultuous economic situation as it stands moving forward. At least, even if it's going to shake, their boat will not be too shaken. In the meantime, we'll still be waiting for some of the participants, some of our speakers. If you know some of them, you can buzz them in. The reminders are already sent. And thank you for coming in as it stands. As it stands.
The other day, I was talking to the right mind about today. I know all he could say was no one knows tomorrow. See, I can read it with a child, I can tell my beat it river for the sunshine. But that's as far as my guess goes, 'cause no one knows tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow. Time was needed to go to war. All the kidding just to settle someone else's score. But the future isn't even sure. No one knows tomorrow. So we can study history and philosophy and places ideology. But tomorrow's a mystery. No one knows tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow. Tomorrow is your opportunity to fail or be successful if you please. Yes, indeed, tomorrow is a politician's today. Is the victim of decisions and the future of our children. So when I die someday, will I be in heavenly places singing hallelujah with an angel on the piano, or will I be just another contribution to the earth, the trees, the grasses, as tomorrow slowly passes? No one knows, 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 no one knows. So when I die someday, will I be in heavenly places singing hallelujah with an angel on the piano? Will I be just another contribution to the earth, the trees, the grasses, as the miles all passes? No one knows, no one knows, no one knows. find and identify. Singing for you tonight. If you're feeling love tonight, we'll signify and identify. Singing for you tonight. When I dance, speed more kilometer. I don't care, show at show. When I dance, speed more kilometer. I don't play a show at show. When I dance, speed more kilometer. I don't play a show at show. When I dance, speed more kilometer. I don't play a show at show. Kilo, 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 one kilometer. Kilo, 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 ocho meter. Kilo, 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 ocho kilometer. Kilo, 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 ocho meter. Kino banjo shomo, ogiri usa. See we go there till the day is all over. Kino banjo shomo, ogiri usa. Oh, say we go there till the night is all over. Fuck off my taxi like I be, I don't be. Whenever you hear me, when I drop my melody, if I be that jump on me, no mercy. Fuck off my taxi like I be, I don't be. When I dance, be more kilometer. I don't care, show at show. When I dance, be more kilometer. I don't play a show at your kilo, 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 mucha kilometer. Kilo, 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 at your
And hello again. Good morning to you. Thank you for coming through. To reset the room, my name is Tracy or Swore Chappelle, Chief Swore Chappelle. I'm a broadcaster, a sports analyst, and I'm a mom, a proud mom who doesn't really understand the inner workings of financial literacy. And probably this is why we are here on the Ellie Beam platform, where we get to ask this question that are pertinent to our younger ones, even ourselves as parents, young adults, older people, yes, older people, and whatnot. And I'll say very good morning to you. Thank you for taking your time out of a Saturday that is very needed for rest or work, depending on the kind of lifestyle you live, to come into a space like this to share. The hope is by the time we are done, we will be a little bit more smarter, a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more learned when it comes to the ways of financial literacy and a way to generate wealth, especially for our younger ones, our teens, and our kids. In the process of this conversation, thanks to the good people of Ellie Bean, we'll be throwing some questions out by way of polls to get feedback from you. I enjoin you to participate because this gives us insight. In fact, it gives you insight as to how your financial literacy journey is and how to gauge how you are when it comes to engaging younger ones, kids, and of course, teenagers when it comes to their financial literacy journey. So I'll say again, good morning to you, Ven. Good morning to you, Oluwatosin. Good morning to you, Mary Esson. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Good morning to you, Chapel Tega. Good morning to you, Alice. And we will give it another extra 1 minute by 11:15. We will start from where we are. This is the first in the series of webinars we are trying to set up in a time such as this, because this is emergency time. Research has shown, as we all know, for intentional parents and intentional African staff, when it comes to wealth translation and wealth generation, and even at the basic financial literacy, a lot of Africans, especially those in the sub-Saharan Africa and those in Southern America, are behind the curve when it comes to financial literacy and how to transpose wealth from one generation to another. And this is because of systemic societal blockages that are there, one, and because parents and guardians and stewards tend to think, this is something that they don't need to start now. Let kids be kids. Unfortunately, the Caucasians are way smarter when it comes to that, because they're already activating their kids and making sure that if you have the brain to learn, you have the brain to understand, you have the brain to engage. And with that said, I will set the room again, and we will invite our first speaker, the one that's around, I'll say Samuel Frank, to come up and engage us to start. He's a very great guy. Never met you in person, but your work speaks for you. And truth be told, when a man's work speaks for him, I mean, what more can we say? This is someone we're excited about. So to start, let's give you your first poll. I would really be extremely ecstatic if you can engage with this first question, so we can get this ball rolling. And yes, raising kids with more to win with money. At what age should children pick money management skills? That's the first one. Feel free to engage. There are multiple choices in the questions, and whatever answer is not a bad answer. We're just here to learn, to engage, and to grow. And hopefully by the time we're done, we'll be much better for it.
If you're feeling good tonight, we'll signify and identify. Singing for you tonight. If you're feeling love tonight, we'll signify and identify. Singing for you tonight. When I dance, be more Jackie on me. I don't play a show at you. When I dance, be more Jackie on me. I don't play a show at you. When I dance, be more Jackie on me. I don't play a show at you. When I dance, be more Jackie on me. I don't play a show at you. Kilo. One Jackie on me. Kilo.
So if you're trying to join, please, if you're trying to join and it seems like you keep coming and going, just check up on the Ellie Bean stories on Instagram. You will see, especially when you get an invalid ID notification, you will see a link in the stories of the Ellie Bean page on Instagram. Please try rejoining using that link, and hopefully the conversations will be fluid and better, and the reception will be fluid and better. Now let's dive into it. Basically, it's money management we're talking about, and money management is something that we must all do at some point in our lives. I mean, but yeah, financial education is something that is barely taught in schools, and often it is left too late if it's even taught at all. That said, on the Ellie Bean platform, what we're trying to do is bring as much as we can some well-versed experts as is, some well-versed experts as is, and they will help us to understand why it is important that we as parents are proactive about our children picking up these skills. We are never too young. One is never too young to start. One is never too young to learn to engage. The problem is, how do we do it? And the how is not going to be answered by me. I'm going to start the how do we do it from a man who defines himself as a financial fitness expert. We know about gym experts, but we don't know about financial fitness experts. Samuel Frank. A man of many words and many parts. I'm going to call you up so you can engage us and tell us more about your journey as is. Good morning to you. Please kindly unmute and let's get this conversation rolling. And Samuel, good morning.
All right, thank you so much. Hi.
You are. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. All right, thank you so much for this opportunity to hear. Okay, so my name is Frank Samuel, for those who are just meeting me for the very first time, and I'm a personal finance coach and founder of Financial Fitness Clinic, and we are a financial literacy brand targeted towards young people, helping them to build wealth sustainably. And we do this through our various sessions, webinars, seminars, and even we are the host of the largest financial literacy conference in Nigeria, Financial Fitness Conference. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on this platform.
For one so young, one would expect that you have to be of a certain age with white beards and a kind of dull expression to want to engage in financial literacy. So for those of us, let's dumb it down. Financial literacy 101. What is financial literacy?
Okay, so financial literacy means developing one to get on board their journey fast. It means to get on board your financial freedom with the right knowledge. It's just as the way we talk about being able to read and write as regards to literal like literacy itself. Same thing around finances. What have you mastered about being able to master your finances, being able to know how you can start off your wealth building journey early. So basically, everything around money, is financial literacy, everything around money. But I like to narrow it down to everything around personal finance, because if you know everything about corporate finance, it's not a guarantee to building wealth, but where yes, because I've noticed it over time. I've had people who are directors in banks and all attend some of my sessions, and when I wonder like what's happening that this kind of people want to listen to someone like me, I figured out it's not about knowing everything about corporate finance, all right? Being able to understand how personal finance works, how money works, how financial discipline can aid you to build wealth for yourself. All of this put together is what we can refer to as financial literacy. So it's being able, to have the necessary requisite knowledge about money and about personal finance.
Okay. We're Nigerians, yes. So I got to juxtapose between the pidgin and the English because I don't know about you. When it comes to money matter, the pidgin in me comes out because money business is serious business. And for someone like you, how you take start your journey? Like, what inspired you to say, oh boy, I can't wait for my parents I have to start this for myself. Can you give us the abridged version, sir?
Okay. All right. So I think it's time I tell a bit of my story.
Yeah.
So I'm 22 years old. All right. For those who didn't know, I'm 22 years old. And sometime July 2016, I was at a conference and my current financial mentor was invited in my school to speak. And I had not met him before. And after that session, it was like the spark, that fired me up. He spoke on the parable of the talents, being able to master the business of your talent and all of that. And when he was leaving the venue, I told myself one thing, that I'm literally going to do what this guy is doing. And I knew that, yes, that was just words. I need to put it into action. So I said, okay, where do I start from? I needed the necessary knowledge. Right? And then I started reading books. As I started reading books, I started practicing what I was reading, because I felt if I'm going to build wealth, then I think one of the first things I need to learn is know how to budget and how to save. So I started up, putting now 20% of my allowances as a student. It was really small at the time, but gave me so much happy that I was doing something that really mattered. So I think then my allowance was, I think, 5,000 a month. Back then, late 2016, early 2017. 5,000 cannot even take care of a student in a day right now, but it's what it is. So then in a month, and I'll take out 1,000 and just keep, then 4,000 is what I will spend. So my offering, my transportation, my feeding, whether I'm buying Indomie or I'm buying tomatoes or I'm buying onions or I'm buying bar soap I will use to bathe. Everything is inside that money. So even if I go to church and the pastor is preaching down that we should give and blah, 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 close, is what I propose. That 50 naira or 100 naira that I said I will give as offering is what I will give. And that discipline was key, because right now you can't just, you can't emotionally blackmail me to spend money I did not plan to spend. Right. And I feel, and that was like the most important lesson of that phase of my life then, because it taught me the necessary financial discipline I needed to start off my well-building journey. So by the time I eventually got to 300 level, I made my first investment with mutual funds as little as 5,000 Stanbic IBTC. That was the first ever investment I did. And then 2019, I got to do other major investments. 2020 was a breakout year for me to start teaching and helping other people to get on board their well-being journey. And how did it all start off? That was lockdown. June 2020 was when I founded my brand. And that was during the lockdown. And I was just recuperating from a very down point in my life. Had a very serious accident. I was in the hospital for 3 months. I was just recovering, and my left arm was broken. Like this, my left arm was broken into 2 parts. I couldn't even do anything. But now I'm fine, yeah. But then while in the hospital, I was getting a lot of DMs, because that period, a lot of persons were not working. There was no way to make extra money. Everybody was stranded at home. So people my age were figuring out, okay, so what kind of investments do I do? Where do I put my money for it to work for me? And by the time they fall for certain scams, they'll come to my DM and be crying. And I'm like, I don't know that you were doing such an investment. So why are you in my DM to, make complaints that, oh, you invested here and then they ran away with your money and all of that. But then it was becoming too much. And I felt, okay, let me start off something. I have spoken at a number of platforms and I saw that there was a need for this, for what I have to offer. And then I decided to set up my own brand, my own organization. And then we've been doing what we've been doing, holding sessions, inviting speakers to talk about different areas of personal finance, different areas, money mindset, setting financial goals, effective budgeting, knowing how to invest, knowing how a lot of things about money, stock buying, only your first stock portfolio, real estate, different things. We've touched on different areas of personal finance since then, and we are still doing a lot more. By God's grace, as it is now, we've had about 4,193 participants from 11 different countries in all our sessions put together, and they're all young people. 98% of them are all young people, and a lot of them have been.
How young? What's the age bracket? When you say young,
age bracket between 16 to 25.
Wowzers. Okay. 10
to 20. We just had very few who are above 30 attend our sessions. Some might be parents, who are looking for, okay, what kind of investments they do now and stuff like that, and all of that. But a lot of our attendees have been people between 16 and 25. So it's been really interesting thus far doing what we do with an amazing team I've got. And this year we are pushing the conference across other cities of Nigeria, so we can reach a lot more. The goal is that by 2030, we'll have impacted the lives of 10 million young Nigerians, with the requisite financial literacy knowledge, to build wealth sustainably. And there's no better time than now to start. It's no news that in our current in our nation, fraud is taking a major part in the lives of our youths, because they feel like I cannot build wealth sustainably. If I don't hack the process to wealth a lot faster or using the wrong means, I cannot build it. So it's something we need to deal with, and we are taking it step by step to as many people as possible. So basically, I think that's like a major part of my story. How I started, what created the spark. Of course, knowledge was there, mentorship was there, exposure, the right environment, meeting the right people, and taking action, on my ideas. So yeah, I think that's it.
I love that you said that consistency and, of course, the right environment and meeting the right people and making the right investments. For a 16-year-old you, as a teenager, what was the feeling like having to be in a space where your guys are talking about Manchester United versus Manchester City derby, or, the next Nakile, they call up the next big when they say you want friend, or who you like, and your mind is ruminating around, am I going to start buying stocks or shares? What was that experience like, and how did you feel when you realized that you were not the only teenager in that space thinking the way you were thinking?
Okay, so while I was 16, the first thing that I knew I needed to do was to turn my skills into money, and making money was the first thing for me, because I knew that there's no way you can't save what you don't have.
Yeah,
You've not made.
that's true.
So as much as I was getting allowance from home, which was good, I felt that I needed to turn one of my skills I had into money, and I decided to start up tutorial stuff in school. I started teaching people a particular course in school. Put people together, they will learn some pay, help them do certain assignments and the rest, and sell. And I was making really good money, all right? And one of the things that my mentor did, what the mindset he gave in my head while I was starting out, was that everybody he sees is like a bag of money. He sees people, when he sees people walking, he's seeing them as bag of money, and he's thinking, okay, how do I take my parts? How do I take the money that's in their pocket and put it into mine? So I knew that I had to offer something. So that was like the start for me. I had to, and then it made me. It separated me from a lot of people. That was the truth, because I was every day I'm thinking of what exactly can I do, what value can I put out that people can pay me for, So it was every day I was either trying to organize a tutorial, trying to prepare assignments I would sell, trying to find a need to just fill up and make money out of it. So almost every day I was in my room. I wasn't going out. I didn't have time for only fellowship or class or lectures. That was like the start for me. And so everybody saw me as, this guy, not only money day ahead. But then that was like that was what I needed at that point, because I knew that I knew where I was coming from. I knew how home was like, and I knew I had to do something different. I'm not going to end up the way my parents ended up. I'm happy for all the sacrifices they've made, but I feel that their children are supposed to be greater than them. So that was like the idea I had in my head. So I knew I had to do something different. I need to offer value, and then started making money. Started saving. I would save out of my allowances, then out of whatever extra money I was making by the business I was doing in school, I was saving as much as 70-80% of it. I'm just piling it up in what I called an excess crude account. And I got that term from the Nigerian government. So when we make money from extra sales of crude oil, all the money goes an excess crude account. So I opened a bank account then and called it my excess crude account. And so that was, I was holding my savings, So it was growing and all of that. And then, we did a lot of other stuff to make money. At the time I had to run for offices in school as SUG, won some elective. I was one time SUG president, So
are you in Lagos? Are you in Lagos? Sorry for cutting. Are you in Lagos? Because most people feel you have to be in one of the big cities in Nigeria for you to be, or you have to be in the hub, in quotes. In Lagos.
Okay. So I lived all my life in Port Harcourt, schooled in Owerri, but now I'm in Lagos because of work. So I just graduated last year. Graduated this year. So I just moved over to Lagos because of work. So, but it was in the east. I did all of this in Owerri.
Wow. One question before we start winding your session down. I mean, you said something about, children should be greater than their parents. Their parents don't try to reach a certain level, but that not mean say children don't go level up. That was intentional from you. And this session, this webinar, when we talk about teaching kids how to win with money, it's about intentional parenting and intentional movement. What was the role of your parents in this your financial journey?
Okay, so I'm trying to think of a perfect answer to give, but
there's no perfect answer. I promise you. But money matter not get perfect answer. I promise you.
So while growing up, I went to a day secondary school, and I was given allowances, transport, feeding money, and all while going to secondary school. And out of it, every day, I think I started that sometime in GS2. So every day I was saving, I think 15 naira per week, so I could buy newspaper.
Did your parents force you to do that, or was it just your personal?
Sports. I've always been a lover of sports. Yeah. So I was buying, Sporting Life. I'm sure you know Sporting Life.
Yeah.
I was buying Sporting Life literally every Saturday. So, but then my parents, they go to school. Every other thing is a distraction. I'm like, okay, no wala. But then I needed the phone to join my friends and be doing to go. So I needed to save money for it. So there are times that I would check a particular distance while going to school, save the remaining. And that was like how my saving practice started. That was how I started saving. But then my parents did not, for any reason, stop me, because they knew that I was putting money aside. They knew it was not like a hidden something. I had one small box, I was saving money then, But then they knew, and they were like, this boy, hope you are eating, don't starve yourself and say you are saving. So that was their ideology around money. And I just kept up with the practice. I bought my first phone from my savings, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one,
Wow.
While secondary school.
Wow.
So when I want to buy a new one, I would sell the old one, add up money from what I've saved, and buy another one.
You're the original Bam Bam. You're the original big boys.
I was doing all of that. When I got into the university, what I was getting a month was what I needed. There was no form of any kind of extras, but my mom knew I was saving, because I told her I was saving money for what, at a point, it didn't have any reason. There was no reason for what I was saving the money. So not like I wanted to, because I had the phone, it was doing everything. It became a practice. There was nothing I was needing the money for, except maybe to eat, and eat beyond what I don't need. So it was, I'm just putting the money aside, and my mom will be like, Samuel, hope you are eating. I'm like, yes, she will know that I'm saving money. I hope you are not saving and dying. I say, no, I'm not starving. I'm just saving money. So my parents they gave me the freedom to do what I wanted to do. Yes, they might not have told me, oh, you need to save money, because my parents never did that. But when they understood that I was getting intentional about money, they allowed me do my thing. They were not trying to force their own ideology on. Yes, they would tell me, oh, you don't is now person where they are alive, they save money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I'm not dying. You get right now. My parents have gotten to do investments because they see me invest. They see what I do work for me. At the point they'll be like, okay, Samuel, we have this amount of money. What do we do with it? I'm like, oh, okay. So investment is now a thing. You get so yeah. So my parents gave me the freedom to be intentional about life, and I think that was what really really helped me. And also, yeah,
It's so
I think
great.
that was the role. Yeah.
Like I said, you're a man of many parts, and it's so great to hear you speak about your journey so far. Don't forget, guys, in case you're just coming in, this is the Early Beam platform, our first webinar. My name is Swar Chappelle. I'm the moderator on this. Yeah, and our speaker is Samuel Frank, a financial fitness expert. He calls himself, or what would you rather people call you? Let me leave it to you. Come again.
The serial investor.
Serial
That's
investor.
what they call me.
Serial investor.
Serial
investor. I love it. I love it. Now, one of the most unusual things about Samuel Frank is most times people expect parents to be the ones telling the kids, you must do this, you must do that. But he has an unusual story in that he was the one invited who took up the challenge himself and started making the moves himself. And he had to learn from scratch. He had to start and stop, make some bad investments, make some good choices, stumble in some good choices, and fall out of some bad ones. And if you have questions about how to get into his headspace, because the guy is just 22, I'm not like you get money past many people waiting for Lagos, maybe say get master degree. Most people feel kids don't have the ability to engage. And this young man here has been engaging in active financial activities since he was a teenager, since the age of 16. Age of 16, I was flying fence to go and teach a level for my neighbors. I was flying fence to go and make sure I watch Barcelona versus, Arsenal and all that. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat box or raise up your hand, engage. This is not a one-street thing. Welcome to you, Belumi. Welcome to you, Shoinka and Telema. Adiola, thank you for your time. We are also doing a poll, so it also helps you to engage. Some of you are already engaging. Raising kids with money, the webinar poll. We had a question. The first question we threw out is, at what age should children start picking up money management skills? And that said, we'll soon move to the next poll questions. I assure you, a lot of you say from the age 3, and some of you say from the age of 6. Some of you say from the age of 9. If you've not dropped your answer, please drop your answer, and maybe we'll engage Samuel Frank and get his thoughts on that. Now, back to you, Samuel. For you, Bruce, if you say you had a way to say this is the basic template, what can parents, intentional parents that want their kids to invest in things, to be able to identify opportunities to throw themselves out and try that extra 2,000 that they dash them on something or whatnot, what are the ways that parents can help identify opportunities to invest, or help their kids identify opportunities to invest and engage and save? In your experience, can you give us some insight?
This is one of the things I think that parents can help their children get on their financial freedom journey is, first thing first, the parents have to understand that their children have to be greater than them. All right, that's the first thing. All right, you are only you're the shoulder your child will use as a ladder to fly to greater heights. So that's 1. 2, you have to put your children in environments that will expose them to the right kind of information. Yes, your children have to be in the right environment is everything. Environment it's a huge determinant. I use this analogy that if you put a 6-year-old child in a room with chain smokers for 3 weeks, bring that child outside, and you do not need to teach the child how to light a cigarette. 6-year-old child. So I also drop the analogy to 3-year-old children, because now 3-year-old children are operating iPads. So they need to understand. And these things there are so many ways. Now, tech has made it so easy that there are a lot of platforms that parents can expose their children to, and they can start playing games around money, understanding how to save, knowing that, you cannot just spend everything that comes. There are platforms around that where children can even play games and know things about money. There are platforms like that exist. Tech had made it possible. So it's important that we expose children to that. And then as they grow up, right, ensure that they understand how money works, that money does not fall from heaven.
My daddy will give me, my mom will give me.
Yes, they need to understand that. Yes, they always have this ideology of, my mom will give me. Your parents will not always be. The adulting will teach you, will show you in Nigerian slang. They say to show you shege. You get. So you need to understand that parents will not always be there. So you need to understand how to create value. If there are certain trainings that can help them master certain skills early, please put them there, because if you have value to give out, people will be able to pay you for your value. All right. If my younger ones were put in maybe certain tech schools, they have certain tech skills, and while entering the university, they even know how to build an app or something. The truth is, a lot of organizations are looking for young developers and are going to pay them good money. That's part of the process. You get. That's part of the process, and these things are really. It doesn't happen by chance. For a lot of years, there are a few outliers, where your parents might not have bothered about things like this, and you're the one carrying it all up on your head. But then, in all of that cases, a lot of children have expected their parents to do these things for them, and it didn't happen, right? So your children should understand things like what a savings account is. They need to understand that if you give them money, that if they even give, because there's also something that I think parents should also do, and it just dawned on me while thinking towards this session. I said I would share it. Yeah. So there are cases people give children money, maybe uncles, his friends, give them money, and then you as the parent will take the money and say, "Oh, let me keep the money for you," and the money.
Never. I have never seen when the children ever see the money.
But that is a very wrong thing, because if after 1 year or if after few months you come back and say, "Oh, this is all the money that you were given, this is it," and the child is like, "Oh wow, so I have all this money somewhere and I did not know." Anytime someone gives that child money, the child will bring it back to you without you forcing to collect the money from that child.
Because they know they will get it back.
He or she knows that, "Oh, I will get my money back and my money is going to grow."
So one of the skills that you're saying is for parents, it's even on their end, it's accountability, right?
Yes.
So yes. What other skills can parents also impact in their kids, not necessarily by teaching them directly, but by making the environment, a place that it just comes in by integration?
All right. Another thing that parents can also do is to not encourage wastage. All right.
Because if you start measuring all the yam, like if you cut yam, carry ruler.
If you put an environment for wastage, even when children have excess money that they don't know what to do with, they'll just find somewhere to throw the money away, because of course money is currency. It flows. It's supposed to flow somewhere else. So if you do not know how to trap that currency and turn it into your favor, you can never build wealth. I like to use the analogy of a dam, where water is just flowing. Water is flowing on its own in a river and whatever. But by the time you set up a particular structure to trap the water and ensure that certain engines or certain stuffs are being rotated to generate power, that water will just keep flowing and there's nothing you can do about it, right? So you cannot create an environment. If you create an environment for wastage, the children will master it.
Wow.
And that, okay, I can throw away this money and I won't feel anything, so that's aside accountability, another thing you need to do is do not create an environment for wastage. Then integrity is important. All right. Your children should know you for your yes is your yes. They should know you that if there was a business deal, you can account for it. You can account for every kobo, because the truth is, I found out that a lot of young people around me, you give them 10,000 naira between today and say Monday. You come on Monday and you ask them, what did you spend the money on? And they cannot tell. Bad, right? They can't tell. Even if they want to tell, they might even hype certain prices so that they will just cut short the whole thing, because they can't exactly say what exactly they're spending money on. And I feel that's an issue. So these are things that parents can: accountability, integrity, and then do not create an environment for wastage. These things help. Yeah.
So there's a question coming in from Telema, and of course, Biobele. She had already asked the question about what skills. Thank you for already delving into that for the answers. Telema, good morning, and thank you for your question. He said, so we live in an age that is being driven by tech and data infusion, and many see access to tech items and products as a distraction for kids. So his question is, how can this become a means for parents to teach their children discipline in relation to focus and finance? And what's the role of reading and finances in line with this conversation? Don't forget that the poll is still on. We're about closing the first question in the poll. At what age should children pick up money management skills? It seems the general consensus by 55% of you on board are saying from 3 years of age. And the other 36% is saying 6 years of age. And the remaining 9% of you are saying 9 years of age. To tie that poll up, as an aside, what age do you think the kids should start, gaining financial learning and knowledge, Samuel? What's your choice?
Okay.
3, 6, 9, 18.
All right, so this is what I think here. Distraction. We're using tech as a distraction is not. I don't think it's one of the right things to say, because it's an amazing way to ensure that people, especially young people, they can start on their well-being journey. I like the data. I like the data that has been put out here, where it said children should pick up money management skills from age 3. All right, so this is important. However, with the fact that tech is now it's democratized, where young people as 3 can access, I think it's important that they have access, to these things. Take for instance, if a child has access to a laptop, or to a phone that can allow him or her save or play certain games, I think it would be an amazing way to teach that child early enough, how to start off saving, how to invest. There are even games like Monopoly that can even show you how to even buy real estate and the rest. These things are enabled by tech now. There are apps that can allow you, do all of this. And it's important that we expose them to these things. In their schools, they are getting access to smart TVs, smart monitors. So what's wrong with it? That's technology. You can't take it away. They have access to smart monitors in their classrooms now, where they can just point on the screen and something changes and all. So I don't see where that is a distraction. You just have to put the control. There should be parental control over it, and even YouTube has parental control where there are certain things that you can't watch. You can configure their phones where there are certain websites they cannot access. This is important, So I feel okay. I don't know if I answered that question.
Okay, you did.
So, all right. Then there's another question here that says, what's the role of reading and finances? Or more, I think that's what I need to start with. Or more,
because the reading is not fun, no. Let me not lie. From a parent's point of view,
you cannot get anywhere without knowledge. I'm sorry. When it comes to money, you can't get anywhere without knowledge. As in, I need to say that again so that it will enter. You can't get anywhere in wealth building without knowledge, And one of the books that I recommend for people to start with is The Richest Man in Babylon. Right? The Richest Man in Babylon. Then you could also check out Think and Grow Rich. Yes, reading is not very interesting, except for people who reading is their hobby. But if you want to make money, you have to make reading a habit.
Wow.
Even the richest men in the world, they read. So what's your excuse?
Wow.
You see Elon Musk traveling, he's traveling with a book. You see Warren Buffett traveling, he's traveling with a book. You see, name the billionaires we have in our world today, the investors of our time, you would see them reading. Even the guys that will say, okay, maybe they jumped on the crypto wave and they made a lot of money via crypto, they are still reading. The person I work for, I happen to work for a multi-billionaire in Nigeria. And my first 2 months in the office, do you know what he was giving to me? Books.
Wowzers.
Every week, I was getting a new book to read. Every week, every time I step into his office, there's always a new book that he's opening and is reading. So you just can't get away from it if you're going to build wealth. Okay, you just can't.
Let me put it to you like this. For the average parent, let's say you stay in a city like Lagos. Your first you wake up by 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. You set up the kids. You're lucky enough to leave the house by 5:36 if you're lucky. You get to the office by 8 after beating traffic. That's if you are lucky. And then you spend almost 10 hours at the office. And then you come back through another 3 to 4 hours of traffic. That's if you are lucky. And that's your go-to for 5 days a week. And then by the weekend, sometimes you are doing your side work and whatnot. Where would you have the time to read? And, like you said, a lot of the time, reading is time. If you're not a person that likes to read, where will you have the time? Are there places where you could have minor school dumbed down? Because that's something that a lot of parents have been asking, especially in a city like Lagos. Is there where you fit dumb down these things so you could okay, cut through the noise. Point A is point A. To get to point B, just go through this. This is option A. This option B. This. Because I can say this for a fact, a lot of the parents here, this is one of the challenges they have when it comes to financial literacy for their kids. That's one question. And let's answer that and then I'll throw the second to you.
Okay, so for parents, this is my advice. They are audiobooks. Yeah, while you're driving to work or while you're in traffic, what's your phone doing? There are tapes, there are messages, there are one of the most powerful messages on personal finance I've ever listened to was a session by former chairman of First Bank, Biko Awosika.
Yeah.
And I downloaded. It was I think it was about an hour 48 minutes video on YouTube. I downloaded it as MP3. And I'm sure I've listened to that message more than 7 times. I've heard it on radio twice while in Port Harcourt. So on the second time, I was like, no, this message is something that I should be listening to often at home. So I had to search for it on YouTube. Some of the books that I have mentioned, there are people who have done voiceovers for the books, and they are on YouTube or they are on places where you could download them and just listen to them. You mustn't sit down and be reading. Every day we consume content. Every single day we consume content. So if part of the content you are not consuming cannot aid your financial future, then what are you listening to? A lot of us, we have the title of the video I'll answer that question, Zulika. So a lot of us, we consume a lot of content every day. We are eager to tune into certain radio stations that will be talking about gist, about how this man cheated on his wife, and this one did not go to court, and this one something, husband and wife issue, children and mom. That is the kind of gist a lot of us are eager to listen. But we have time for all those things on radio to listen to them. What happens to listening to you don't have time to read, right? No wahala. People have recorded books in audio format. Download it and listen to it.
Okay. Quickly, we already have another poll coming in. Feel free to engage in that poll, and that is: should financial literacy be left to just the schools to handle? Because a lot of parents. I'm working for my money. I hardly have the time. Welcome. I see a legend in our midst already. I'll get to you, ma'am. Welcome, but to you, Samuel. First off, should we leave it to the schools to handle?
No, absolutely no. Do not leave it to the schools. Please do not leave it to the schools.
What about the extracurriculums?
Oh, well, I'm not saying the schools do not have a major part in this, because they do, but until we should not try to what's the word now? We should not hold on to a system that we don't have a control over. We should not believe or bank on something that we do not have complete control over. So that's why, as much as it's important, maybe parents talk about this in PTA meetings, or so that they have with schools. It's also important that you do not just leave it to the school. You also ensure that there's a responsibility towards ensuring that your kids know things early about money, and have the necessary financial literacy skills. This is very key. So we shouldn't just leave it to schools alone.
Thank you so much. It's 12 o'clock, and officially, I don't want to drag your time, because I know also that it's important to rest in Lagos, and the weekend is one of the only time we can manage to do that if we're not doing side work. For the question regarding the title of the video by Ibukun Awoshika, I would assure you that for every material, please follow the post, and if you do need materials to also elucidate on financial literacy, we'll make those available to you. Samuel Frank, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know we'll be calling on you again, because you are so niche in this space as one of the young, I apologize when I say kids, one of the young brains, young minds that have taken this journey heads on and has managed to do something that a lot of us didn't manage to do, which is from our colo. Thank you so much, Samuel. We will be calling on you for more question session. And with that said, thank you so much. Even Zulika, thank you. She says a big thanks to the host and speaker. Thank you also, Samuel. Right. Okay, you're back.
So let me just drop the title of the is Planning for the Future. Planning for the Future by Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika. So you can check it up on YouTube. Okay. Planning for the Future. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's take a 30 seconds to Percocet and let what we've learned and listen to sit in. And then we'll welcome with our full chest a lady that I have admired at work, because I'm like, how does she manage to do it? When you ask yourself, this my child can bake a cookie. This boy can clean motor one kind of, but can he make money from it? I don't know. This is the woman that knows how to make sure she identifies these kids. I don't know how she does it, but you want to be here to have this conversation. Thank you so much, Samuel Frank. Thank you. We'll call on you again for more questions in a bit.
All right.
All right. Okay.
My people suffer, then they pray for blessing. Hey, they do my people then they pray for blessing, for better living. Hey, kilo nale, aye ole to yo, aye oli double, adura no le she o, son of daddy, adura go. I'm feeling good tonight. This thing got me thinking.
Okay. If you do not know Uju Elegba, you don't know John 3:16. And if you don't know this lady, I urge you want to get on our page. And of course, we're going to throw Samuel's handle as well. So you get to follow him and his journey. But it is such a delight. It's such a delight to have you on this platform, madam. First of all, we know you as Kidpreneur Africa. But the Kidpreneur Africa and Justin Obi. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, ma'am. How do you do?
Thank you. I'm fine, thank you. It's Juliet Obi, not
Sorry,
Justin. It's
my
Juliet.
glasses. My glasses.
Okay, okay, okay.
Apologies for that. Apologies for that.
No
But first of all, I
problem,
like the
no
moves.
problem.
You're giving us the. You're giving us the.
Yes, because you know, I when I heard the music, I remember where you are coming from. So you are trying to let us know that we can have studio while on Zoom too.
Oh yes, yes. It should be fun. Zoom's conversations should be fun. Now, first of all, how is a mature woman? How does this larger than life matured adult manage to be the go-to for kids who want to activate their entrepreneurship skills? I mean, tell us your journey. What are you about? What are you about?
Please, can you come again? It's like the noise intercepted with what you are saying.
Okay, I said, how did you start your journey? Because I mean, we only see you online and you're always engaging with kids, you're activating them, you're always lighting up, you're always discovering, making new discoveries about kids that are in our neighborhoods that we didn't even know they were in our neighborhoods. But
okay,
how did you get on that?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is a story I want to talk about anytime, any day, anywhere.
Love it.
Okay, this is just about me. I started coaching kids when I was 10 years old.
It's a lie.
Yes, I am telling you the truth. So after school, they come to me, I teach them their homework, and I started doing like after school class, 10 years old. And I was doing it with a child that is disabled. She's crippled, she's using crutches. So what we do is that if school were to resume Monday, on Sunday we'll do a party. At 10, we'll do a party, put canopy, do activities and all that. And parents started paying us money. But then what we're doing, using the money to do is we use it to do the party. So we'll be saving it up for the party, we'll cook rice. But I wanted to become a different person. I want to be a nurse because I love their uniform. Nurses, they wear white, they are neat. That one is one of the fantasy about career choice I made. And in JS, I got admission after primary school in a boarding school that is far away. My parents said, oh, we can't afford to pay for boarding school. We don't even have, my parents were from average home in Nigeria. So they said, we can't afford to pay your boarding school fees and all that. Do not buy bed, we don't have that money. Do not buy provision. You know what? We are going to stay at home. Let's look for a school nearby. A government school nearby. We can, enroll you. So I was at home for one term. For one term, I didn't go to school.
Wow.
So when these kids will come back from school to come, their usual after school, I will send them away. I said, please go. You are coming back from school. I'm not going to school. So depression set in. I was at home for one term. So I didn't do that. I abandoned that. And nobody in my neighborhood could trace that. This is like this girl trying to show why God created her. This is this girl trying to show this is the area his purpose is no challenging. Nobody, not my mom, not my dad, not an auntie, not a neighbor and all that. And I finished that and I get into secondary school, you want to still pursue that nursing career. And towards the end of our secondary school, start hearing these nurses, they marry abroad husband.
Yeah.
I said, we die here. This nursing, I will do this nursing. And I wrote nursing exam for 3 years. I didn't get admission. And my father didn't believe in female education. It's only my mom. My mom said, you know what? You'll be a graduate. And this woman died when I was about getting admission.
Oh, man.
So when she died, I now look at what else can I do? Will I give excuses? My father said, no, female education in this family is only male. What am I going to do? What else can I do to make money to send myself to school? I can't give that excuse to my children that my parents didn't send me to school. That was how I now, thought of what can I do? I remembered, I have passion for children. This is something I can do even if you didn't pay me. If I sleep and wake up, I know how to, pass across the message and these things. So I have to pick up. Back then is when you write application, submit, they call you for interview. After interview, before you submit your credentials.
Yeah.
So I did that. I finished my teaching practice. Children, we want her back. We want her back, So they said, okay, come with your credentials the next day. I came with my credentials only for them to see that is my O level and my overseas GCE, which I cleared. And they were like, oh, you didn't know that for you to apply for a teaching job, you must have at least NCE. I said, nah, do you want to employ me because of my certificate or what I can deliver? Is it about my delivery or about my certificate? So they look at, when they asked me to go, that day I was going, the children start, screaming again. I hope she's coming tomorrow. I hope she's coming tomorrow. So when I got home, they called me back. That was how I started teaching job. So then I now enroll into a part-time schooling, and that was it. So I was doing that, and I said, okay, if I'm into this education field, in the class, you discover children who are very artistic, but we're judging them during career day. Their parents want them to wear,
the doctor's suits, the doctor's scrubs or something.
Up as a doctor or this. So I started having issues in the class when I am dealing with the children. Their parents are like, allow them. That is not what we brought them here in. But a situation happened. I left a 9 to 5. I started my own thing. I started teaching children how to make crafts, how to make bow tie, how to make hairbands. And one of them now said something. She now said, you know what, on my 10th birthday, I'm going to make bow tie and hairband to sell to people for them to buy as a shebi for my 10th birthday. You see, business sense is coming. About teaching them the skill. We need to teach them how to, the business side of it. Yeah. So I said, okay, that was when the idea came. I not, Googled, what do we call children who have businesses? So the word kidpreneur pop out. I now checked kidpreneurs in Nigeria. I didn't see anyone. I checked kidpreneurs in Africa. I didn't see anyone. I typed kidpreneurs in United States. I saw so many. Kidpreneurs in United Kingdom. I saw so many. I said, wow. So that means the world is ahead of us. There are children that they are already, doing something, and our own children, they are not doing anything. So that was what bettered Kidpreneur Africa. So what I did was I started running a free coaching classes in different locations in Lagos. We did Ikeja, we did Lekki, we did Surulere, like that. So, I'm testing, I want to have a test grant to let parents know that this is achievable. Before you know it, we got the child, a kid photographer that starts taking pictures, making money, and now is taking pictures for celebrities. They're like, wow. Before you know it, others started, coming in. And to our credit, we have over 200 kidpreneurs in Nigeria as we speak. And our academy is open for children who are not even in Nigeria. So it's not all about business. So I'm going to share my screen so that we'll know a little about what kidpreneurship is all about, so that you don't think it's only about them making about business. There are other things that, when you talk about entrepreneurs, there are 4 things you can actually make money from. Your giftings, your experience, your expertise, or your knowledge. So when we begin to raise children with this mindset, they will know that they can actually make money from their giftings. It's not only about, go to school, graduate, get certificates, look for a job. You can actually make money from the experience you have. So people are willing to pay for it, for you to share such experience, to save them from going into that experience again or going into that situation. You can also make money from your expertise. I know children that make money because they can play sax very well. One of them that is our ambassador, the father said, this boy was the one that made me tour the world just by playing sax. He's very good at it. There is one that she's very good in acting. The brands are looking for her. They are paying her for them to use her in their billboard and all that. One of the mother, in fact, her call came in now. I just came out of a program because we're having Global Money Week, but I
yes, happy Global Money Week, by the way.
Yes. So you see them. One of them is the host. We're paying her after the program. She's hosting. She's doing a host for a virtual meeting. Nobody thought of that. When we were growing up, it's either you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an accountant.
A pastor.
You can be a content creator and you are being paid. So let me share in a nutshell what Kidpreneur is all about, so that you can you enable me share my screen? I think I don't have access to that.
Okay.
So Kidpreneurs are actually children who are curious.
Yeah, you can.
If you have a child, okay, I can now.
I think you can, yeah.
Okay.
Can you share now?
No.
Okay. So you can make.
I can now.
Yeah. Don't forget, guys, you can still take the poll. We are asking questions. When you're raising kids to win with money, should financial literacy be left to only schools to teach? Some of you have engaged, some of you have not. And, it seems like the 100% consensus for everyone that has engaged is schools should not be the only ones that get to engage with financial literacy.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I think the host is sharing the pool, so it's coming in. So Kidpreneur is just a noun that means a child that is curious. If you have children that are curious, you know that this child is wired to be an entrepreneur. Yep. You have a child that is very passionate. There are children that are very passionate about a course, very passionate about a thing. And when you not give them a skill, you not support it with a skill for them to launch and grow their own businesses. These are children we call Kidpreneurs. Like the picture you have here, these are two sisters. We call them Michael's Light. That is the name of their business. Their business is Michael's Light. So this girl went for a yoga class, and the yoga teacher gave her a scented candle during their yoga class, and she said, okay, that this will help you to, if you are depressed and all that. So she got home, and I learned that the mother and the father had issues, and the father left. So she used this candle, and I said, okay, Mom, you know what? I want you to put it in the room. They practiced that, and it worked. The mother was indoors, closed the door, was just reminiscing on the good things of life, and the whole atmosphere was engulfed with the smoke and also the scent from the candle. So this girl now said, if it worked for my mom, then that means there are so many. For example, in Lagos, we have 1,001 people that are stressed out. Only the traffic can give you the stress you don't imagine. Then depression is all there. And this girl now said, okay, you know what? I'm going to start making these candles for everybody. They now started Michael's scented candles. So the name of their business is Michael's Light. So you can see that this child is curious. This child is passionate. And when she came to us and told us, this is what I am passionate about, this is what I want to do, we encouraged her. And today she has launched her business in our last Kidbiz fair. Excuse me.
Say the matter don't talk kasala. Abi you go cover shola. As roadblock don't block.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Okay.
So I said, okay, what I'm saying is that during our last Kidbiz fair in December, one of the people that came that day was an honorable from the Lagos State House of Assembly.
Yep.
He bought this candles, the scented candles, and the man came to his Instagram page to write about the products. So you can see, so this is coming from a child who is passionate and curious about a problem that is happening, and now she has bettered a business. So it's not only about, product that we can see. We have so many of them that does pancake. Let me share one of them that during my birthday, I always order this from him because the mom, of course, is a caterer, and she loves, he loves being in the kitchen. So the mom was like, this one, you are always in the kitchen. And he said, okay, do you know what? Today I want to make pancake. And that was it. He made this pancake and everybody enjoyed Daniel's pancake. And you know what? They called him Pancake Boy. So when he came for the class, and we now asked him, he said, the only thing they call me in class in my house is Pancake Boy. I said, you know, you can turn that and become a business name, and you can make pancakes and people will take it. So today, Daniel is making fluffy pancakes. He has vanilla, he has chocolate, and he's added this. Now, what he's now doing, you know, one thing about exposing them to entrepreneurship is that it will help them to open their mind to see how they can fine-tune their businesses, how they can know how people, you know, come about their business, their branding, marketing, you know, negotiation and all that. Look at the stage where Daniel is. This is how he started, but look at how he's packaging this pancake now. Now he's doing a birthday pack for people. So it has gone beyond the normal pancake boy, normal pancake boy that is in the house. Now he owns it as a business, and the name of the business now is Danicious Pancake. So recently, I think official Lolo, you know Lolo now.
Yeah.
Yes, she ordered the pancake and he delivered it himself. So this boy is doing it after school and during weekends. And he had recently told me, I have my own business account now. I can track my transaction. I know how much money I'm making. When I'm in school, my COO, which is my other brother, is managing it. So that is just the idea. The idea to know that they can, even when they're in school, secondary school, universities, they can start becoming employers of labor. They can bring things that people can buy. And that is just the idea of kidpreneurship. Thank you.
This is a whole lot. First of all, I know say you could come with power pack before, but I love how you just gave us blast. So let's unwrap it and unwind it. First of all, thank you for all you do, getting to engage in a space where most of us are still scared, even as parents, to engage. Let's start from where your journey started from. For parents, how do we identify the unusualness of our kids? Because for some of us, our kids love to play games and they seem to be good at it. Now, I'm not saying they can be entrepreneurs with it, but how do we identify those skills that make them stand out, that are not in the usual spaces? And how do we help them flourish and make that something that, even if it's small 200 naira, they get from it? Whether it's, if you pass this level, I give you 100 naira. How do we go through that grassroots phase first?
Okay, I think what we need to do as parents, we need to be observant. That is number one thing. We need to observe our children. We need to begin to look into the nitty-gritties of some of the things they are interested in. Like I said, 10 years, when I was 10, I was, navigating towards this thing I'm doing now, but nobody saw that. And another thing is that we need to bring our children into our space to discuss business opportunities. How do we get business? How do we get, business opportunities? How do we do? In fact, bring them into what you are doing to make money. You will be surprised when they will give you an idea. I know of a child that launched a business. The mom is into making bed sheets and all that. His own business is Joseph's Pillow. If you check him on Instagram, of course, all of them are on Instagram. So he said, Mommy, this bed sheet you are making, I think for me, can we make a support pillow for, okay, the mother gave birth to a baby. I know each time the mother is breastfeeding the baby after, I said, oh, my hand. So the boy said, Mommy, don't you think we can start making support pillows for breastfeeding mothers? When they want to breastfeed their babies, they can put it there and their hands will not pain them. Wow. That was how this woman started supporting pillows. There was a time when we did our National Kidpreneur Day. It's every November 1st, for you to see that this thing is becoming global. When we were doing the live, a lady joined from US and saw Joseph, when Joseph was talking about his journey as a kidpreneur. And the lady picked Joseph and said, I'm interested in that business. For this boy to come up with this idea of making a support pillow for breastfeeding mothers. So
why did we think about it? Well, we're busy.
That is how this idea came about. Sometimes we use our parental limitation to place on them. They are still children. No, it's not children of this 21st century. They'll come up with the idea that you'll be wild. When we have our academy, during our business academy, and we'll start talking, by the time they see this one coming up with an idea, they start thinking, coming up with ideas that will blow your mind. One of them, African Teddy. Check them. If I'm calling, you can be checking them on IG. They are all on IG, African Teddies. So that is what great Teddy is all about. Why can't we have our own African Teddies? Why will it be that is African doll that we are buying?
Well, what do you say to people that be like, see, my child is a child. I just want my child to have a childhood. I don't need them to start engaging with money like this. And yeah, if they can make it, hey, fine. When they are older, when they are maybe 15, 16, that's when we'll start trying to monetize it. What do you say to people like that?
Okay. When you look at the recent story of different things that are happening in the society of young people trying to make money, people want to make money. But the thing is that parents are not teaching them early on what it takes or how it takes to make, manage, and multiply money. And when you don't do it, they pick it in the streets. You want them to be child, you want them to be children, and you are not doing your own part. Somebody else will tell them this is how it's done. When we did our What Savings Day, I went to a school, I asked them, if you want to make money, when you grow, what do you think you can do to make money? The junior secondary, they said, oh, when you finish your school, you start working, you make money. But the senior, what they said, oh, you have to be a Yahoo to make fast money. So, for them to start thinking, oh, you are thinking that they don't know. The streets, they are doing something to tell them this is what to do. So if you say allow them to be a child, are you giving them enough information for you to equip them for what they are going to face in the world? Allow them to be a child. You are not telling them whatever habit your child formed now is what will drive that child when the child is adult. If your child doesn't know how to save now, when the child is old, the child will battle spending impulsively, will battle borrowing or loans and all that, because the child didn't learn it. If we are teaching them communication, if we are teaching them morals, now they're young, why is it that we cannot teach them about what matters, which is money? Money. Global Money Week is 1 week. Why is it that it's 1 week? Every other celebration is 1 day.
1 day, yeah.
Women's Day, International Women's Day is 1 day. International Men's Day is 1 day. Why is it that we're using 1 week? For you to know that the money is the cocoa, is why people are doing so many things. So we need to start early to, equip them to know this is how you can make money, manage money, and multiply money. And it is not too early to start. That is our slogan.
I love it. It is not too early to start. Let me put it to you like this. You've said a lot, and then there's an opportunity. Good morning or good afternoon to you, Elizabeth. I see you, Adeoye. I see you, Jumoke. I see an iPhone, no user. Mary, I see you as well. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking time from your Saturday to engage and be intentional about being a parent or a guardian. In case you do not know, we're speaking with the CEO and founder of Kidpreneur, a mom herself. Apparently, you can hear a kid in the background. Fantastic lady with great passion. You can always go and check her out and our work. We've already had Samuel Frank, a financial fitness expert at the age of 22. Yes, 22, not a joke. He has been doing this for almost 10 years. So he started as a teenager and he has already spoken. We'll get to put this video on our LEB HQ page on YouTube in case you want to come back and revisit the conversation when we see you miss. We're still throwing polls out, the poll on raising kids to win with money. We've asked several questions and I'm going to throw another question out drawing from the conversation we are having with Juliet. We just asked one. Should financial literacy be left only to the schools to teach? And everyone that has answered has said no. So obviously we are all on same part, similar part as it is. So the next question we're going to ask is, as a parent, from your financial experience, do you think you are equipped to teach your children financial literacy? And there's a reason why we're throwing this question out. We're launching the question now, so that you, when we say they watch, you when they listen, you go do your own introspection and we'll ask you the question. For a parent, as you said, Juliet, that doesn't have all the understanding that you're saying we should be more observant and all that. But we can't do everything ourselves. Personally, I struggle with even teaching my son how to undo fractions. I mean, I'll go to YouTube and Google how to do fractions and I can't get it. Not to mention how to do investment savings and earning and whatnot. So for a kid, let's say I identify a skill for my pekin, and I want to know how to go about, even if it doesn't become Warren Buffett overnight, it doesn't become pancake boy overnight, but at least know how to engage him in a way that he can actually get one or two small change and get personal pride in. I made so and so money by Easter. I made so and so money before my birthday. I made so and so money by Christmas. How do I go about it? And how does Kidpreneur, for instance, Africa, engage kids? Because I know you have programs. How do you engage kids to fine-tune their business acumen?
Okay, parents always come and say, I don't know how to do it. You can't do everything. I used to tell people that we need to be doing a course called parenting so that you understand all the things you are going into, because they didn't share the memo very well for us, some of us. You enter the parenting journey and you are learning, juggling it, learning in experience, trying to gather experience while parenting. So some of these things, we are now doing that for parents. That is why we have our academy and we have our club. We have our financial literacy club, which is basically for financial literacy, teaching them everything about money. But we also have a business academy where we now take them through all that, how you can, move your idea from idea to a business plan and, actualizing that. And we also are into school. We have a school in Lekki we have worked with last term. In fact, on Thursday, they are going to launch another business idea. So it's their entrepreneurship after school club. Wow. We allow them. You see these children, they are the one. The name of their company is, yes, the name of their company is Redwood. That is the name they call their company. So now we are doing pastry. Last time was t-shirts. They said their slogan this year will be "Yummy pastries made fresh for you." We have to obey because we have exposed them to how companies, bring these ideas. Okay, last week after our class, we gave them the pre-order. They said we are going to have pre-order cards to start getting orders. This is a simple thing you can teach them to know. Imagine that child having that knowledge. Do you think tomorrow that child will know, oh, this is how to go about this? So that is what Kidpreneur Africa is all about. It's an academy where we raise today's kids to become tomorrow's business mogul. No matter the career choice your child will end up in, there is always an entrepreneurial aspect of it. Your child should know how to bet ideas. There are business side of any career. There are business sides to every career, there are business side. So that is what we do. All you need to do is to reach out to us when it's time for our academy. The next cohort is coming up in May. We do it every quarter. So it's not every month, but the financial literacy class is every month, 3 times in a month. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you have to jump out again. Don't forget, guys, you can also reach out to Kidpreneur, but we're dropping some of their content and we have some exciting NFT discussion coming in as we wind up this conversation. It is possible for you as a parent to have a kid that manages school and business and also to activate something that they might make money from. And thanks to the work that Juliet does, oh my Lord, you can actually get to do that. That said, we'll take another few seconds to percocet. Why do I keep using that word? At least to ruminate on what has been said. And we'll come back with our last speaker, as is. Thank you so much. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat box and we can always engage as it's time.
tomorrow. Oh, oh, no one knows tomorrow. Time wasn't need to go to war. All the kidding just to settle someone else's score. Oh, oh, but the future isn't even sure. Oh, oh, no one knows tomorrow. So we can study history and philosophy and places ideology. Oh, 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 but tomorrow's a mystery. No one knows tomorrow. Oh, oh, no one knows tomorrow. No one knows tomorrow.
Again, thank you so much for your time, because we are saving. It's from one to the other. I will call this man a Janla. I don't know why. I learned in Yoruba it means big fish. And as it stands, don't forget your poll questions. Your answers are yeah. Your financial experience, do you think you're equipped to teach your children financial literacy? And nobody said yes. Nobody said yes. Basically, we just juxtaposed between no and just a little bit. And now, speaking of just a little bit, there's someone who lives in a land that is strange to a whole lot of us, the land of NFTs. And this is a man, Ven Oputa. The only time you get to see him come out is when he's breaking down structures and when he's breaking down illusions and bringing up new. Every time I hear this man speak, I always be like, guy, you should say you get sense. So people like say the school where you go now back of school because you don't know nothing. But Ben, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance in real time. Good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Happy to really share what I know with a couple of parents, right? And maybe just talk a bit about why maybe this might be important, especially if you can get your kids to learn about it early on. So, great to be here. And I've been enjoying the session. I've been learning a lot, right? I'm not a parent yet, right? But yeah, like I'm prepping from what Sam said and, and Juliet said. So yeah, happy to be here.
I love how you say I'm not a parent yet. The thing is, it's like breakfast. Everybody will be served. So that you're a parent now, or you'll be a parent soon. And the thing you jump now, it will get back to you in a bit. And for those of you who don't know, Ven Oputa happens to be the co-founder of Afro Bubble, and that's an NFT company that's focused on basically Africa and Afrocentric products. They transform Afrocentric stories, art, and culture into digital assets. Now, this conversation is basically for those of you that when they grow up, you sabi they draw, you sabi they do one or two things, and then it just melted away. And you didn't get to engage with that skill and export it to the world in ways that would have made not just monies for you, but in ways that, the technology and the art gets to marry together. Now, then, make we start from 101. What is NFT? To the basic KG picking, what is NFT? We can't hear you. Let me see if we can address that. Seems you're muted.
Okay, how about now?
Okay, yeah, we're back.
I'll try and make this as simple as possible in the best way.
Please, possible. NFT for dummies, I beg. NFT for dummies. We've been learning profit and loss, so NFT for dummies.
The acronym NFT means non-fungible token. So I'm going to really I'm just going to do this way. So non-fungible means one of a kind. So let's take that, right? So non-fungible really just means one of a kind. So meaning NFTs simply mean one of a kind token. And so think about any asset or anything that is one of a kind, right? So yourself as an individual, you're one of a kind. So what we're doing, right, is that we're taking, for example, yourself and we're putting it on a blockchain. And when we do that, it enables people trade you. So I'm going to put this in context of you you were a slave, right? So if you're a slave and they took you and to identify your number, right? What they did to slaves back then, they'll sort of put a branding on them, right? And that is what the blockchain does when you take yourself to the blockchain, is that it sort of puts a signature on you so that people can identify the original you. And people begin to buy and sell you. So if you're a slave, people, it's the same concept, right? So I hope that really just simplifies it. So some of this one-of-a-kind assets, popularly assets, are like artworks. So if you have digital art, so ideally when you paint an art, right, when an artist paints an art, it's very hard for that artist to replicate that particular art piece, right? Even if it tries to, like, like there'll be a mistake somewhere, right? So it's like the Mona Lisa, there's only one authentic Mona Lisa. The others are just ABBA boys that maybe took a picture and put it up, right? And if you think about it, right, you can't sell the fake for at the same value of the original. So when you tokenize this one-of-a-kind assets, right, it gives it that ability, it gives it that value, right? Helps and sort of puts a signature for you as an individual, no matter where you are, to identify that asset. So simply put, it's just one-of-a-kind tokens. There's so many things that are one of a kind, but popularly now it's artwork. Yeah, I don't want to dive into other. So like even your identity is one of a kind. So your ID card is the one of a kind asset. So imagine putting that on the blockchain, with a signature.
When you say this, what reads to me is value. Individual value, placing individual value and unique value. And when we drag them to a conversation like this, how to help kids win with money. You're someone that has delved in spaces that it's not just for a certain age grade. I mean, it juxtaposes between preteens, teens, young adults and middle class or middle age. When we look at a conversation like this, how can NFT play a role in the life of a kid or a teenager trying to find their identity and relate with their get into their monetary value place? How can NFT play a role?
What's really funny, right, is that within the space, right, the whole NFT space, you have more kids literally turning, whether it's their artwork or trading other NFTs and making a whole lot of money. I'm talking about, it could go from thousands of dollars to millions of dollars, right? Like literally kids. And what is happening here, right, is that for a kid, right, who has maybe like a creative process, they could come up with, they could draw something, they could sketch something, they could make it digital, and they could put that on the blockchain to sell it. It could tell a story, it could tell anything, right? And what you're doing for that kid, right, is that you're not now just investing in blockchain for the kid, right? You're actually turning the kid's creative process into, cryptocurrency. And here's the thing about me, right? I definitely believe that cryptocurrency is the future of money. You can quote me maybe a couple years from now, right? So imagine just accumulating, the right cryptocurrency for your child off their own skills. So it's not as if you're investing in cryptocurrency or you're like changing your fiat, your naira to cryptocurrency. You're literally just saying, hey, my child has, this skill and they want to change it. They want to turn it into cryptocurrency. And so it's just value for money. It's no longer, investing your fiat to make more money. And I've seen this, right, in the space, right? I've seen a couple of kids come in and say, hey, so I'm building my artwork, my collection. It's 2,000. What we're trying to do is that some of the proceeds that we raise will go into like children's learning. Like these are kids, right? And there's always going to be sentimental and emotional value when a kid comes into a space that is predominantly, filled with adults, right? People will want to like invest in that. There was a project called Belugi's. It was on a blockchain, right? And she had I think it was like an 8,000 collection. So she made almost 8,000 of this artwork. Now there are simpler ways to make 8,000 of an artwork, right? You don't need to draw all 8,000, but she made about 8,000 of that, and some of the things she added to why she was doing that, right, is that some of the proceeds will go to charities, animal charities and whatnot, and she was able to raise about $1 million from her collection, right? So, and she was just 14. The long neck ladies, a girl in, and I'll probably maybe just share these examples, right? Because you can also go online and, Google them. The longy neck ladies, right? A black American young girl, her artwork raised over $4 million, and that's like a whole lot of money for herself, her family, and, to build whatever she wants to build with that, right? So, and this is $4 million in cryptocurrency, so she can at any point convert that back to fiat, or she could keep it long term, and if the value goes up over the years when she's an adult, maybe that money turns into about 10 million or $40 million. Who knows, right? Or it goes to zero. Who knows? But but yeah, like, and think about this, right? The ideal nature of a child is to play. Is right. Children are really creative vessels. At a very young age, you really just move through life with your imagination. You're either playing with imaginary characters, you're drawing, you're playing, right? So imagine turning that into profit for your child, or even for your family, right? Because that's life-changing money, right? If your child's ability to make you $4 million, that it changes the life of even the parents, right? So, and we see these things in life, right? Where parents over time try and push their children towards, what is really beneficial, right? You for example, like right now, you see a whole lot of parents more accepting a little bit of music into the careers of their child, right? Because when you see, they're like, in my time it was like, you have to be a doctor, because the people who seem successful around you were doctors and whatnot. In recent times, the rock stars now are NFT artists. They are NFT artists, NFT creators, right? These are people that, with just ideas, right? You're raising over, thousands of dollars and millions of dollars, depending on your project and your size and your community, right? And your ability to share that story with people that sort of connect with it. So it's a very interesting and intriguing space. It's pretty new, right? So most people are, a little bit scared, but at the end of the day, right? I say these two things, right? People are motivated by two things: avoiding a loss and making a gain. A whole lot of people, in fact, this is not fact or like statistical, but I'm pretty sure 90% of people are motivated by avoiding a loss.
Yes.
So you tend to see people not make that, that first step into gaining, right? But when you can overcome that, right, and you can even inculcate that into your child early on, whereby they are motivated by
okay for sometimes,
Yeah, they're not thinking about will it work out or it won't work out, but they're thinking about how will it work out, right? So when you're able to change that mindset for a child, right, is that they can go through life entering into new frontiers and taking advantage early on before it becomes saturated and hard.
I love that. Let's put a pin on that, because I know we said this session was going to end by 1. So I want to squeeze as much as we can from you. And this is your mind before you leave. What's been the biggest challenge? Because you said new frontiers for parents. What's the biggest challenge for you to break into, say, a Nigerian space when it comes to NFTs and, say, for parents and kids?
I think the level of education, right, it's not just there, so first of all, NFT is based on cryptocurrency, right? It's based on the technology behind cryptocurrency, which is blockchain. So people don't yet even understand cryptocurrencies, so then imagine NFTs, right? But what I figured out a while ago, almost 2 years, it's almost 2 years now, about a year plus, right, is that NFTs was going to be the advent that will bring a whole lot of people into the cryptocurrency space, because it's the first time within the space whereby you can now convert value in exchange for cryptocurrency. In the early stages, what we're doing is just speculating on this asset. So if you look at Bitcoin, we're just like, will it go up, will it go down, right? Finally, there was after that, a wave came in whereby, they brought in a new technology, which was called DeFi. So meaning you could do what a bank could do, you could do it with cryptocurrency. So whether it's investing to make more of that. So, but NFTs was the first part whereby, you're literally telling people, when I sell you my art or whatever it is, right, your NFT, is that you're paying me cryptocurrency. So meaning at that point, right, is that people cannot come into this space, not necessarily risking or investing money, but literally converting that value, whether it's the artwork, the collections, the collectibles, into cryptocurrency. So it means that now we're not at the point whereby you're earning cryptocurrency based on your time and value, not necessarily based on investments, right? And that is something like children can take advantage of. It's crazy. It's so crazy, right? It evolves into the point whereby there are concepts called play to earn. So there are NFTs that give you an advantage, it's more like buying a character. So if you played Sims or things like that, or even on your phone, right? So if you're playing Candy Crush or anything, like any avatar-based games, is that in order to like level up or like to do certain things, you sort of pay, you could make in-app purchases. So let's say you're buying so in Candy Crush, I think if you want like bombs or something and you couldn't make it, you would have to pay for it, right? Is that your kids now create assets for games that people will buy. And what that is doing, right, is that your kids are earning money just from creating assets for games. Another thing is that just by playing certain games and performing certain actions, your kids could also earn money, right? The context in that is called play to earn. So if you're just searching on YouTube, just, go through play to earn, right? So imagine your child who's already who loves playing games, right? And all they do is they're playing games and they're making money. What that does, right? And they're making serious money. It's not joke money. It's not like they're making they're making thousands of dollars, just playing games, stealing up. And what that does for the child, right? It shows them the possibilities within that space. So several things and I think is that we're trying to build the capacity to really just, help. Oh, sorry, the poll came up. We're trying to build a capacity to really just educate kids and just educate people, wholeheartedly about this opportunity, right? Is that I believe if you can get a kid to learn about not just the technology behind blockchain, NFTs, cryptocurrencies, get them to understand play to earn, is that you build somebody who can maybe build the next Facebook, right? One thing that Africa can take advantage of right now is that this technology is because we have YouTube, we have all these channels to learn from, right? So it's accessible to us. So we can begin to prime our kids to learn, about coding, about blockchain, all these things, right? And down the line, they could be the next people building the next Facebook. They could be the next people building, that barrier that used to be there, that barrier of knowledge that we didn't have for a very long time is now accessible to everybody via their mobile phones. So, and for you as an adult, right, it might be hard for you to learn, but think about kids, right? A kid within the age from infancy to about 6, or even 10, right? It's pretty much a learning machine on the things they are interested in. So it's pretty much hard for you as an adult now to learn a new language. But a kid at that age, learns that language, to the point whereby they're speaking with you, right? Most of us that are bilingual, or the people who are bilingual, probably learned the other language through just being a kid and being around people, right? So exactly. So imagine teaching a kid the importance of this technology early on in life. They grow up to be rock stars. It's as simple as that, right? Because they have a head start. So and the upside is really great because think about it, right? You might think like for yourself, right, as an individual, like, will this thing come to the limelight? You know, is this thing important? But your kids are being born into smartphones, into like tabs. You weren't born, like, if you're a millennial, like you probably saw where they were like, there was no technology, or like even the technology was like your handphones and whatnot. And now you're experiencing this, right? So you are lucky enough to see both sides of the coin. But your kid is waking up to smartphones, right? Into tabs, don't know anything different. They'll be fully immersed in this virtual world. You know, so what you can do is find ways to prepare for them in earning capacity and also in the mental capacity, right? So that, you know, they don't begin to, like, you know, go into several stages of, you know, what can be or what can be.
I love it. I mean,
but yeah, like, you know,
you said stuff.
Yeah, waking up to that.
You said stuff like we don't have a choice. It's already there. It's either you plug in or you get swept by the wave. And also, I also like the fact that you said that, see, a lot of us in Nigeria, I don't want to put money inside something that will come and chop my money. So it's more like the value you have, the skill set you have. And I hope for parents out there, in case you have questions, you can feel free to direct it. We are in the final minutes of this session. And I know we have materials to give regarding the NFTs to expand your knowledge from what, you know, Ben has said, also about entrepreneurship, especially regarding what Juliet has said, especially when it comes to investment by stocks and other sort of investments that kids can get into. It doesn't have to be the big one like Warren Buffett, you know, it could just be guy. Just try, you know, you just try and get your small extra 2K from your allowance that they give you from what Samuel Frank, our first speaker, said. We will send a link of the materials to your emails so that you can have that. But yes, you can get materials from this webinar. We have your emails, so we'll forward them to you. And we'll also forward links to the video as well. So in case you missed some parts and you want to revisit some of what has been said, you can always revisit it and follow up. Just one final word. We put a poll there, by the way. If you feel like this webinar has been helpful, feel free to jump on it. But then, before we let you off, we would just like to know from you. For someone that's starting this process from scratch, how long does it take to finally get your feet? And do you, when you start, do they start with the knowledge, say as you hit, you will eat them, right? How long does it take? And, you know, how do you manage to keep your head up and navigate your way through a process as new and a novel as NFTs for a parent? Is it 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year? You know, because, you know, so we like the rush for year. If we don't see the result, we think it's MMA.
I think it depends on the individual, right? I tell people, right, when you put your money into something, you learn faster. Like, you're forced to learn faster because you're like, hey, you know, what's happening, right? So place a bet on learning towards, like, in a month, right, or less than that, you'll be really conversant. Because the difference between the blockchain space and, you know, conventional finance, right, is that learning is really just about everybody knowing. So the concept and the philosophy behind the space is called WAGMI, and that is WAGMI, is we are all going to make it. So meaning, so because there's a whole lot of information out there that everybody's trying to help you. Like, everybody's like, oh, you know, this is what you need to do. There's the NFT Nigerian community, the NFT Niger DAO. I think that's what it is on Instagram. They talk about NFTs, you know, there's African NFT community. So there are communities that are just geared towards educating and, you know, teaching people about this whole process, right? It's up to you to really just find, you know, as much time as you can. Like I said, it's a couple of months, right? And understand that it's information, right? Literally what you're learning is finance information, digital information, and technology information. And if you were to go to school to learn that finance, ideally, right, you probably do 4 years. But because the information is so widespread, I'm telling you, right, in a month or two, right, you'll probably be the one coming to coming to tell me, oh, there's this project we're working on, or we have this idea. It's always like that. Like people that get involved in NFT, like a month after, they're like, oh, like I think we can do this with an NFT. Yeah, you're just like, hey,
I said, I'm one of those that have been scared about it, and hearing you speak, guy, I can't wait to start diving in and get to be that person you're talking about. That's like, okay, in a month's time, I can tell you my mouth, my word, my speaking.
So apart from kids, let me just, before I want to put it in context of adults and how adults too can take advantage of this, right? So with NFTs, ideally, what people do, they create a collection. So a collection can be, let's say, 100 size. So like that means you create maybe different paintings and it's 100. They could represent something or whatnot. But what you're doing, right, is that you're giving 100 people access to certain things. So people that buy those 100, it's like Ikoyi Club membership. So imagine that, you had 100 people that could only enter Ikoyi Club. And if you wanted to enter Ikoyi Club, you had to buy one off somebody. If there are 1,000 people trying to get into Ikoyi Club and there are only hundreds of this artwork, it means that the value will go up. So if you have a business, right, you can do it that, like what Coachella did. So Coachella, which is an events company, right, said that anybody who owns one of our NFTs, I think they did about 1,000, gets free access to all Coachella events for life.
Oh, wow.
So it's a way of also giving people access to certain things within your business as well. So if you have a business and you have loyal customers, you could grant them certain things. That NFT will be, it's almost like a black card in a bank. Yeah. Whereby, people on that particular get access to certain perks within your company that other people do not have access. But the good thing about this as well, right, is that when people, like, let's say I'm tired of, or let's say I have more than 3 of those cards, and I'm like, oh, I want to sell one, is that anytime people trade between themselves or they sell from other, is that your company earns royalties set by you for life. So you're giving people access to perks, and also when they sell and buy it, you're also making royalties on it. So for brands, right, I think the evolution of that long term is that brands will be able to give value to their customers, as well as also gain value when their customers are trading it. It could be anything. It's really just the beginning. So I employ not just kids, right? So adults, find your space within it, right? Get interested in it. Learn a little bit about cryptocurrency, right? Because again, quote me in the future, right? You don't want to be fiat rich and crypto poor in the future. It's really.
I love the balance, because when you hear Samuel speak, he talks about bonds and he talks about investments. That's the early stages. Then you hear Juliet from Keepreneur speak. It's fiat, how to identify, how to make that shmoney, something like that. And then to hear you speak is how to get longevity, especially when you can transfer your fiat into crypto spaces, which seems to be the language that everybody wants to speak now outside Nigeria and outside Africa. And we have to catch up. Juliet is back in the room, and I'm going to say thank you to you. Then let me put a pin here. I'm hoping that eventually on the next series of webinars, because we are going to get the gamers and the gaming community into this space in the next series of conversations we will have when it comes to kids winning with money. I'm hoping you will also have to come in, because I know NFTs play a big role when it comes to the gaming and the gaming universe. Basically, they also play a role there as well. So if you have questions, please feel free as we wind this up to drop it in the chat box. Juliet came in again. Thank you again, Juliet, for coming through. If you have questions, please feel free. And then let's take a look at the polls as it stands. We asked, raising kids with money, the webinar poll. Do you think on a scale of 1 to 10, this seminar or webinar has been helpful? And some of you have, indicated, at least thank God, God no shame us. When I no give us 1 to 5, now from 6 to 10. So not be like say we don't waste that time. Apologies. But don't forget, you can also be part of the Ellie Bean community, because this is a platform where we have identified the need and the space, the vacuum in the space when it comes to kids' financial literacy, where we get to link the men and the women doing the work when it comes to kid and entrepreneurship space, financial literacy space, when it comes to kids and teenagers. And we're trying to be a hub where these conversations can be had. You as a parent, you can link up and you can get the knowledge that you need, because let me not lie you, we don't know. And we are trying to get knowledge as is. Then you can see the message from Ben, long neck ladies and belugas. I hope I pronounced that well, NFTs. You can Google this already and learn about kids who are already in the NFT spaces. So you can't say, God forbid, it's not my child that is going to be a slave. It's not slave, you just gave it as an example. No, we are Nigerians, we're very literal people. So feel free to join the Ellie Bean community. We'll be sending you the good work that you can have, some materials you can have. My name is still Sword Chappelle, and I'm a broadcaster, I'm a sports analyst, and I'm a culture custodian, and I try to do my bits in the space that I'm in. I'm going to select this song from the classic man, Majek Odumi Fashek, minister to you, simply because if you're like me and you feel like this thing takes a whole lot to, how can I start? People like Ben have said, I mean, within a month, if you are deliberate about it, you can be better off from where you are now. People like, Juliet has said, you can start from where you are, just be observant. And, anything can be a skill and a talent. Nobody sets the rule of how your child should be. The only thing that is key is let them get this knowledge. You've heard from Samuel Frank, who has said in his own way, you have to be intentional. We have to do better than where our parents left us with our kids and whatnot. So follow Ellie Bean at Ellie Bean HQ on IG and Twitter. And you can also register to get information from elliebean.co. But let Magic give you something to think about. And let me shut up for now.
Bye,
In the morning, you worry. In the evening, you worry. Hey, you so worry about the family. You so worry about the future. You so worry about the food to eat. You so worry about so many things. Oh, so many things. Hey, worry.
So thank you so much for giving us your time. I'll say thank you to Ben, thank you to Kidpreneur, thank you to Jumoke, thank you to the one called iPhone. I didn't see the name there. Thank you so much, Chappelle Ogenetega. Thank you to you, Biobele. Thank you to you, Mary. And Tony, I'm trying to see if I can catch the slides will work. You will get the materials to follow up accordingly. Please feel free to follow Ellie Bean HQ on Twitter, on Instagram. Mary Eson, thank you so much. It is all about intentional parenting. It's all about intentional guardianship. It's all about intentional financial literacy. We will come back again on the next series, and hopefully you'll hear from the gaming community, because those ones, they will pop, and their kids, they pop, and there are so many ways you can get access to this information. The hub is here, Ellie Bean is here, for you for questions and follow-throughs. Feel free to log out. The session is done. Thank you so much for your time, and let's leave it to Magic again to take it away. Bye-bye.
You so worry about the family. You so worry about the future. You so worry about the food to eat. You so worry about so many things. Yeah. So many things. Yeah. Worry. Never worry. Worry. 24/7, girl, you dip on my breath. And I know you want me to go down on my knees. But you can't eat, I heard you know be sleep. And I want you to know that girl is not that deep. So what's up? You alright? I pull up, I'm outside. What's up? You alright? Pull up, girl, I'm outside. A million ways, I swear I prove you wrong. You wrong. 'Cause I love you for life, you know, go understand. I'm smarting if I bust a million for you. Girl, I don't even mind, I know putting down twice. So what's up? You alright? I pull up, I'm outside. What's up? You alright? Pull up, girl, I'm outside. 24/7, you've been sitting in my mind. The pick you I think about like all you. If I did that thing that I be standing there today, 'cause I came a long way from calling. Love and the vibe is between me and you, baby, don't go telling nobody. My girl, you're shining just like my wrist, baby, welcome to this side. 24/7, you've been sitting on my mind. The pick you I think about like